Welcome back, my name is Lee for the Liz Kitchen. Today we're going to show you how to portion up all your meat from your bulk meat buy ready for the freezer. So while I was in Melbourne, I went to a couple of retailers because I saw some specials that I could not pass on and they're really good. So if you want to see the actual meat haul, I'll post it up there and you can go click on that separately. This video is just going to be about how I'm actually going to prepare this and get it ready for the freezer. So first we got our chicken spare ribs. So I've got two types here, lemon pepper and also a smoky barbecue. These are just going to go straight into the freezer. These are about 500 grams each and they're going to make just a nice meal during the day. I've also got these lamb shish kebabs. I'm going to put these in the fridge because I'm actually going to have these for dinner tonight. Now, while I work on the rest, I'm going to put all of this away and I'm only going to keep out a couple of things while I work on them at a time. Right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare this mince. So if you go to Costco, you can get mince for $9.99 a kilo here in Australia, and it comes in a huge tray and you know you're not going to go for it straight away. So this is another great way to actually kind of prepare this as well for your freezer. So keep this in mind, it doesn't have to be from just your normal butcher or anything like that. So what I have here is some Ziploc bags. Now, these are huge. I got the wrong size when I was at the supermarket and my other ones are just sandwich bags. So I'm just gonna use these today. It just means that it's gonna be nice and flat and it's gonna basically just slide into the freezer, nice and easy. And I will add as well, so this supermarket had a butcher on site on a Sunday, which is usually unheard of. And they were preparing all their mince and everything all that day. Now this is 2 days after I purchased this, so it has browned just slightly, but that actually means a good thing. So you can see it's just slightly, just brown just a little bit. That's completely normal. That means that they have put no preservatives or anything in this, which is great. If you actually go to Coles or Woolworths, they actually found that they use a small bit of that preservative they use in sausages, and that's why their meat always stays so pink for so long. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to zip it up. Leave it open just a little bit. And we're basically going to flatten this, so it's going to be like sheets of pastry in your freezer. It's going to be nice and flat. It's going to be easy to store. And then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn this over, get all the air out and zip her up. So this is going to limit how much oxygen can get into this. So it's going to stop it from getting freezer burnt as easy. And if I use my smaller bags, they would have been absolutely perfect, but use what you got. All right, so that's a beef mince done. So next we've got our cutlet mince. And that's got like herbs and spices and everything in it. It's going to go delicious on a kebab on the barbecue. And I think that's a great thing about going to like an ethnic supermarket or something different. You're always going to find different stuff that you have never tried before, or you know, you've wanted to try. I've had koftas, but they weren't great. And they were from just your regular supermarket. All right, so that's the meat done, and I'll get that in the fridge for now. All right, so next we've got our chicken breasts, and these were $6 a kilo, skin on. So what I'm going to do is, I was going to vacuum seal these, but I'd like to reserve that for meat that does actually get freezer burnt really easily. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put these into Ziploc bags and put them into the freezer. Also really important as well, just make sure you label each of these as well. Keep a date on them so you can track how long they've been in the freezer. So what I'm going to do is firstly, I'm going to take the skin off the chicken breast, and that is just as easy as that. And the majority of it just pulls off. So if you ever see skin on chicken on special, don't be scared of it. Look how easy that was just to take off. And this chicken breast is massive. They'll probably make an amazing Parmesan. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to pop into a Ziploc bag. Squeeze out as much air as possible. And I'm going to seal it up. And that's it. So easy. Alright, so that's those ones done. I'm going to put these into a Ziploc and I'm going to put them into the fridge. I'll probably feed into the kitties, but I might find a use for them as well. Alright, so next we're going to do it with these whole chickens. So these are just small chickens. They were 2 for $5, which I think is absolutely amazing value. And I think these are the chickens they usually use for like spatchcock chicken and everything, because usually they're not too huge in the actual packets. So what I'm going to do is, these aren't really great for roasting on their own, but what I thought I'd do is I would cut them in half, marinate them, and then have them in the freezer ready to go, so then I can just pull it out and put it into the oven and just serve some veggies with it. So easy. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I've already done it with this one, I've cut some bum flap off. And it's just a bit of fat that you're not really going to want. That can go down to fillets below. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trim off the wingtips. So the wingtips, I don't see any point of having, because they don't have any meat or anything on. So I'm just going to cut these off. Looks like he was already missing a tip on that side. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the back in half, and this is a lot easier using some kitchen scissors, so really handy. Keep a pair on hand. All we're going to do is just go straight through the middle. Until we get down to the middle there. You need to use a little bit of force, but I think it's a lot easier than using a knife. And then what we're going to do is we're going to open it up, and right in the middle there, we're going to grab a knife and just a quick crunch. And then we've got 2 half chickens there. And we've got 2 half chickens there. So what I'm going to do as well, just tidy up any of the excess fat or anything. In case you're wondering, I'm throwing it on the floor because there's a garbage disposal on the floor there, which is Felix, if you've seen my other videos. He's very naughty. All right, and then we're going to marinate these. So I have a bunch of rubs and everything, and I thought I'm just going to coat these in those, and I think it's just going to go amazing. So what I'm going to do is, for 2 of them, I'm going to do a lemon pepper rub, which is my favorite with chicken. And then also got some spices from Christmas. So I've got an ancho coffee barbecue rub, which is a little bit spicy. And then also got a sizzling smoky chili rub as well. That's a bit spicy as well. And I'm going to put that on one of each of those as well. So what I'm going to do is, I've got some olive oil here. We're going to spray some olive oil onto it. And then I'll do the ancho one first. And that oil is just going to be the carrier to make sure all that seasoning actually sticks to it. And then we'll just wipe it around that bowl and make sure we've got all that goodness of it. I'll put that one aside. I'm going to finish them all off and then we're going to vacuum seal them. And then I'm going to go with this chili rub. This is solidified a little bit, so I'm going to have to use my hands to actually rub this in. And you can use whatever you got in your fridge. So this is what I had available. This is what I'm going to use. But if you had any herbs or spices, or if you had any packet mixes or anything that goes really good with it, go for it. I'm all about using what you got in your fridge and not having to buy all this extra stuff. If you don't have one of these, just use a brush with some olive oil. Please don't use that canned stuff. That's disgusting. This is doesn't have any repellent in it. It just uses straight olive oil. It's fantastic. And if you're from Australia, this is from Woolworths, but you can get cheaper ones from Kmart as well. And then we're just going to coat this. All right, so that's them done. I'm going to actually vacuum seal these because what we want to do is we want all that marinade to like penetrate into the chicken. So we want to remove as much oxygen as possible. So this is my Onova vacuum sealer. It does a decent job. You can get these on their sales at a pretty good price, so keep an eye out. They do come in handy if you like buying in bulk. What I'm going to do is take out enough so that it goes onto the sealing panel, and then I'm just going to hit seal. I like to just hold it down just to make sure it does do a really good seal, which is that. And then I can pull enough out for my chicken, which is about there, and I'm going to cut that. And then I'm going to grab my chicken and I'm going to put it long ways in here just so we can save on the plastic. And then what we want to make sure we do is just make sure there's nothing in the end here, because when there's seals, that could stop it sealing. So I just give it a good wipe out with my fingers. And then we're going to get into the vacuum chamber, which is right here. Have it sitting there like that. And then we're going to close it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a pulse vacuum. So that's not going to seal it, but it's just going to make sure that all the air is taken out and it's going to do it properly. That way, if I've got my bag in the wrong way or anything, then I can rectify it before it goes and seals it. So I can do a pulse vacuum. And so we can see that was vacuumed all properly, so that's really good. So now we can go vacuum and seal. And now that's sealing now. And when that block goes off, we're done. And there we go. Ready for the freezer. I'll get the others done and I'll show you when we're done. So there we go. 4 easy proteins ready for the freezer, already marinated. So all we have to do is defrost them and just roast them in the oven. They're going to be delicious just with some veggies. And you can see they've turned out really good. And even the one with the marinade that was a bit blotchy, you can see that's all going everywhere now. So now that is going to marinate beautifully. So these are ready for the freezer. And then next we're going to get onto the chicken wings. So I got 2 kilos of chicken wings, and these were $1.28 a kilo, which is unheard of in Australia. That's more American prices, so I was really surprised and I jumped at it, even though I don't have the freezer room. So what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to make them into a delicious snack. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to portion these into ringgits and drumettes, and then I'm going to put them all into my smoker, every single little one. And then what we're going to do is we're going to portion them up, put them into the freezer. They're going to be a delicious snack or a protein heavy lunch. That's just so easy to just take out and either put into the microwave or also glaze onto the barbecue. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the wingtips. The wingtips have no purpose for me. So all I'm going to do is just get my knife and just go straight through it. It's not really thick bone, so you can just get your knife straight through it. I'm going to put that into a separate bowl. It'll be a nice tasty snack for the cats. And then what we're going to do is we're going to find the join between the wing and the drumette. And we're just going to go straight for that. So that's how you get your drumette and your wingette. And I think it's just a lot easier as it goes when you go to eat them. All right, so that's all those done there. So it took a little while, but I think it's well worth it. So now we're going to set up the smoker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to light it, and I'm going to light this to a really low heat. I want to keep this around 130 degrees Celsius. And I'm going to heat it up. I'm going to be using some cherry smoking chips today. I'm choosing what's on hand, but this is suitable for chicken. And then I'm going to fill up the water reservoir as well and just have all that ready to go while we're marinating our chicken. For these ones, what I've decided to do is I've got that lemon pepper seasoning here. So I'm going to use that today for all of these. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a good glug of olive oil. And that's going to help stick that seasoning to it. And we're just going to get all this chicken coated in that olive oil. And then we're going to go to town with this lemon pepper seasoning. And I got that from Sacco's as well. Right, so now we're going to let these smoke for about 2 hours until the internal temperature is between 75 degrees and 80 degrees. And that will just make sure that they are all well cooked so that they're all good for reheating later on. All right, so these have been in the smoke for about 2 hours now, and they're reading around the 80 degree mark, which makes it nice and safe for me to say these are all cooked and they look absolutely delicious. The smoke just smells amazing, and they're still glycering with the fat. They're not dry or anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let these cool down, and I'll let them cool down to room temperature. Then I'm going to put them into the fridge and let them cool down overnight. And then once they're cold, I'm going to bag them into freezer bags probably. And then we're going to keep them in the freezer. And there we go. We've got 9 portions of delicious smoked chicken wings ready for the freezer. And they're going to be ready to eat when we're craving something to just eat. So these are high in protein, so they're going to satiate us, and they've got barely any fat or anything like that. So they're a great thing to snack on. So now I'm going to prepare the lamb cutlets. And what we're going to do is I'm actually going to crumb these. This is my favorite way to actually eat these. So I'm going to show you how to prepare them, and then I'm going to show you how we actually have them ready for the freezer, ready to go. All right, so I've taken our lamb cutlets out of the bag here. And what we're going to do firstly is we're just going to trim off any excess fat. And if you haven't tried lamb before, because there isn't a lot of fat in these actual lamb cutlets, they are quite mild compared to a lot of the other lamb. So it's not so gamey. So if you want to give lamb cutlets a go, I think it's a great one to start with. All right. So then some of these, they've left the fat on it. So all I'm going to do is grab a knife and just trim that off. Because we're going to crumb it, we don't really want all the excess fat on it. All right, so now I'm going to set up my dredging station. So I've trimmed most of the fat off these. I don't want to go too far or else there's not going to be any lamb left, because lamb is typically just fatty altogether. So I'm putting some flour in this first bowl here. And all we're going to do is we're just going to salt and pepper that one. Easy peasy. In our next one, I'm going to put some milk. And I'm going to crack 2 eggs into this. Salt and pepper. Just going to give this a little whisk. And then we're going to do our breadings. So I'm going to be using pancake breadcrumbs for this. You can use any breadcrumbs that you want. And now I'm going to add my seasoning. So plenty of salt. Freshly ground pepper. And honestly, I don't have a actual recipe that I really follow for this. I just kind of wing it and I use whatever I've got. So we've got some paprika. Then I've just got some mixed herbs here. Some rosemary. That goes beautifully with lamb. And then also some thyme. Another good one as well. And alternatively, you could also put some parmesan in this as well. I'm going to leave the parmesan out because I don't have any at the moment. So a step I forgot, I just like to just flatten the cutlets out just a little bit, okay? I'm not looking at tenderizing or anything like that. They're always already very tender and delicious. We just want to flatten them out just a little bit, just so they actually do fry a lot easier and evenly. Now we're going to go into the flour, into the egg mixture, and then we're just going to push that crumb onto there. And I'm actually going to double crumb these, so I'm going to go back into the mixture and back into here so we get a delicious coating on these. There we go. All right, so that's all these done now. So now we're going to get them into the vacuum sealer and get them ready for the freezer. They're going to be bloody amazing. All right, so I'm going to do about 4 per pack. And there we go. I'll see you back when I've got the rest done. And there we go. 3 lots of delicious crumbed lamb cutlets ready to go. And if you're wondering what to serve with these, I do a delicious couscous with roast pumpkin and feta. I can post a link up there. And I think it goes bloody amazing with these. All right, so lastly, we're going to slice up our Scotch fillet. So I got this for $16.99 a kilo, and there's almost 5 kilos worth here. Now, there is a few things you need to watch. So for example, the last time I got Scotch fillet in bulk, it was a budget Scotch, which just means the actual size of it is irregular, or the marbling's not great or anything like that. This doesn't say it's a budget one or anything like that, so that could actually be a good thing. But the thing with buying it in bulk is half the time you don't know what you're actually going to get until you've actually opened it and you start slicing it. So let's see how we go. So I've just taken out the packet, and the packet was a little bloody. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to blotch this with some paper towel, get all the excess blood and everything off there. And then the next thing we want to do is we just want to cut off any excess skin that's just going to get in the way. So any floppy bits like this. Well, that was crap. I recorded, well, I thought I was recording, cutting all these steaks, but I didn't record at all. So as far as drying off the meat with some paper towel, and then what I have done is I've sliced these into about just over a 3cm steak. So nice, thick Scotch fillet or ribeye steak. So $82 for 12 steaks. That's under, I think that's $7 a steak, which is absolutely amazing. Now, are they the most amazing, perfect looking steaks? Not really, but I know they're still going to taste amazing. And what I did say when I was slicing this and didn't record is if you're not confident actually slicing these, I know Suckers do offering a cutter service for their bulk steaks. So if you buy, I think Porterhouse was $20 a kilo, you could ask them to actually slice it up and everything. I'm sure the double sided jar would do the same thing, but you'd have to ask them about that one because I didn't see any signs or anything about it. But overall, I like trying to do stuff myself, and I think I've done a pretty good job. So for these steaks, I am going to vacuum seal these. I find red meat is the meat that starts to tend to actually get freezer burnt really easy. So stuff like steaks, pork, and all that, I like to vacuum seal. But stuff like chicken and all that, I don't find much of an issue with it. So I tend to just put it in Ziploc bags and save my vacuum sealer bags for stuff like this. And this is going to make sure that this steak keeps in the freezer for as long as possible, and it's not going to turn or anything like that. And then once that seal light turns off, it is done. It's done now. And there we go. Beautiful Scotch fillet steak, ready for the freezer. Delicious meals. All right, I'll see you back when we are done. And there we go, we've got 12 beautiful steaks, Scotch fillet, or also called ribeye, ready for the freezer. So let's play a game. Where will we fit all these steaks? All right, some sacrifices were made. Bye-bye flowers. So this is a typical meal for me. So I've got some protein. So I've got the steak that I've just grilled up, and I've just put some butter on while it's cooling down. And then I've just got some veggies as well. So I've got some asparagus, carrots, and some broccolini. And this is most of my meal. So I just focus on these 3 veggies and a protein. So let's give this steak a go. It only costs $7. So let's see how good it is. Let's give this a go. And overall, for $16 a kilo, I'm pretty happy with that. So I did some calculations, and my meat shop was about $150, and comparing it to supermarket prices, I'll probably save about $100 on all my meat products, which is amazing. And what I've done as well is I've also transformed it into usable meals and everything, so that I can just take it straight out the freezer, defrost it, and roast it up or fry it, and then it's done. It's already prepared, ready to go. So I hope this gives you some inspiration on what you can do with your meat before you do freeze it. So thanks for joining me today, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.